tight though. So now, when you're fleshing this here, the important thing is, if you're left-handed, you're going to do it opposite. But your last pull on the steel is on the edge of the knife so that it turns that burr upwards, okay? If it's pointed down, you're going to feel it. It's going to try and drag into the hide. I've had butchers tell me it absolutely doesn't matter which way the burr is going, but butchers aren't skinning beavers, they're cutting meat in half. But this does matter because you'll feel the difference the first time you try it the other way. This here is going to pull the meat off instead of trying to dig down into the hide. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to do down, and I'm going to go down the center half. When I first started doing it, I was, just going all the way along the edge. You can do it that way, but it's time consuming compared to doing this way. And you're going to keep your leg at an angle down, because the weight of the skin and the weight of the meat falling off, I'm going to put my glasses on here, is what helps, keep the skin tight and make this all work, well. And you'll notice I'm going to stop fleshing when I'm talking because I can't do two things at once apparently. So if you don't mind a beaver with lots of holes in it, I'll just keep talking while I do it. So you get it started. And you can see I'm going to have to go slow because this is so fast that I'll be done both these beavers in 20 minutes. And you notice here too, I clean skinned around the feet on this, because that's the place where if you're going to make a nick, it's going to happen because the skin, happens to get loose. And then everybody knows if you got a loose skin or a bump, that's where you're going to end up nicking the hide, right? So. And pretty good, like there's a scar right here. So you can see that coming up, and you can adjust around to it. And I'm going to be touching the knife up quite often because you can feel it really fast when it starts to get dull. All of a sudden, instead of just peeling off like butter, you've got to start putting more pressure and more pressure and more pressure on it. But I've got a chair that's a little bit higher where at home, and a lot of the guys that do that, they use an actual stool so that their leg is straight down. And I know, like one guy said, well, you make that look real easy, but it is. You got to try it. If you do a lot of rough skinning, you just got to try this because it is so much easier on your back.
Dave, you said you liked that blade you had used for 35 years.
Yeah.
What is it about that knife? You like the length of the blade?
Yeah, and see, I stopped using it because it was too long for my clean skinning. But for this, it just, because you're going like that, the longer the blade, the more cut you got on each stroke, right? And yeah, it just suits for this purpose.
Do you find 2 days that when you're using your knee, your knee flattens out a bit, so it gives you a wider area surface too, as opposed to a fleshing beam that may be a stiffer surface?
And this is the towel that obviously you don't wash it. You probably noticed that. There's only 2 things about the towel: is don't wash it and get it out of the house before your wife sees you doing it, because it's no good for anything else anymore. But it kind of just stays formed to my knee almost, right? And it's a nice smooth edge with a little bit of cushioning. When I first started trapping, like when I was 14, I used to skin clean skin beavers, I was on my knees and pulling the beaver skin up on my knee and doing this clean skinning. You know, it didn't take long to get to where I was old enough I couldn't stay on my knees that long skinning beavers. So then I started standing up doing it, and then you get a sore back. So then you just, you know, go back to what you're doing when you're younger. But and you see like this fat here, the weight of this fat, see, is just pulling and helping with the skinning all the way down, right? It's pulling it down as you go. Get that fur out of the way, because like I said, once your knife touches that, you're losing your edge. When you get around the legs, you'll see the skin start to turn a little darker, and you know you're getting close to the legs, so you want to be careful again.
Dave, are knives like that common?
Yeah, this is, you know, I've seen a lot of butcher knives. You can buy the one with the yellow handles that have almost the same blade. Like this one's, you know, been ground down somewhat over. I think I bought this here in 1975. Yeah, anybody been around a long time? You ever seen the Tom Whistle knives? They used to sell them at the OTA convention all the time. You know, they were handmade knives. I bought one of them and this thing at the same time. I still got that whistle knife too, and I use it for skinning. It skinned a few beavers. There's half of it, you know, it's cleaned off. It's not, well, with practice it will be, but like I said, I've probably only done 100 beavers like this now. You know, I'll be able to get it where I don't have any scraping. Like when I clean skin a beaver, there's not a lot of scraping done, but this is so much faster. You know, I can, like this is going to be a double XL beaver. Clean skinning it would usually take you about 25 minutes, but I can get this thing done rough skinning and fleshing in probably 7 or 8 minutes faster than that now. You know, back when I was just trapping on my RTL and, you know, catching 50 beavers, 60 beavers a year or whatever, you know, I had time to clean skin everything. But now, you know, in the fall, I take 120 beavers in 10 days usually, and you just clean skinning. You don't got time to keep up with that. By the way, out in the farmland in Manitoba, there's lots of beavers. I don't have to do a lot of walking to catch those beavers. It's, I don't know if anybody watches the channel, but I did a video there a while back. I drove up the road and videotaped all the beaver houses. In 29 kilometers, there's 39 beaver houses that I can see from the road. They're fairly populated. One of the nipples. And I know I've had young guys, you know, say, well, you know, they cut a hole right where the nipple was, you know, is that going to cause a problem? Well, it don't matter if you cut a hole there, because that's going to be a hole when it's tanned anyways. It ain't affecting nothing. I know nobody likes to put a hole in their skins. I know when I was young, it was like, oh man, 2 hours I would work on a beaver if I had to, you know, just to make it perfect. But at some point, time becomes a waste of time. You know, you're either doing stuff for the market or you're doing it for a skinning contest, and this ain't no skinning contest.
You go much faster when you're not talking.
Oh, yeah, because I don't want to put more holes in it. You ought to see me walk fast when I'm not talking.
Yeah, you better slow her down. You only have 4 minutes after 10.
Say what?
It's only 5 after 10. Somebody go find him a beaver tail so he can do that.
Yeah, well, I told him to look for a beaver tail earlier so I could do this, you know, skinning one of them. But I got a second beaver here, but I don't think it's going to last too long either. You know, and like I said, I mean, if you want to really get going, you can whip through this stuff pretty quick, you know. I'm taking my time here, really, trying to make this hour stretch out. I don't know why I'm not getting paid by the hour. What the heck?
How much pressure, Dave? Are you just letting the knife do the work? Or
Pretty much. If you're close, you can see as you know the knife loses that edge a little bit. I'm applying more and more and more, and it's just, as soon as it gets to a point where I'm pushing too hard, then I'll sharpen it again.
or pieces of towel start showing?
Yeah, yeah. A towel with my knee stuck to them.
So you'll do the fit around the legs at the end?
Yeah, I do that on the board. I mean, you could do it here. I watched that guy on the video, and I mean, he takes a other knife, and he'll do it all real nice and right on there. But this stuff comes off so easy on the board, just one swipe with a knife and it's gone. So. But yeah, this whole thing is simply, to ease the workload on my back.
So you were saying the height of the chair?
Yeah, because then you don't have to bend your leg backwards to get an angle. See, it's strictly for the angle of your leg, so that the weight of the skin and the weight of the fat is pulling on itself, right? Yeah, I use a higher chair, and because like this leg here because I have a hard time keeping it bent back like that without straightening it out for a minute. It'll lock up on me. Getting shots never fun, by the way, people. Yeah, when the bullet's still in there.
I had that very idea one time. So the first time you did it like that, Dave, did you know that was the way you want to do it? Like, did it feel good the first time?
The very first time. I mean, I put a couple of nicks in it because, you got to get used to what angle your blade is, like all the time. Anytime you're doing that, it's always blade angle, right?
It felt pretty natural.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was just, and even when I was rough skinning beavers, well, to give you an idea, I set the traps. The first day I checked them, I had 23 beavers. Next day, 19. The day after that, 21 beavers. So, to keep up with that skinning. So then I made this little table that I can sit down. The table here's got a board to hold it. It sits on my lap, and now I can sit down and rough skin my beavers too. So I don't do it very often, but it's only as soon as my back gets sore, I use that. So I'm, You want to be careful as you get to where the edge, because it'll sometimes, see, you've got a good scar here. You see the pus pocket here? And you can feel that coming or see it coming, so you want to just ease around it. See, it's gone over there now. Okay, so that's one. You know, and like I said, I haven't been doing it. I've only been doing this for half a year. So as I get more and more practice, I probably will get to the point where I don't have to do any scraping afterwards. But right now, I still got a little bit after that, but it's mostly just fat.